following to you. It's at the end of the day, I ain't looking for no reason to change, 'cause everything is good for you. Baby, I can see we're gonna shout it out to the sky, tell our secrets to the night, so we can see the end in sight. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. When I look into your eyes, I can see no better light, better light than love. Baby, I can see we're gonna shout it out to the sky, tell our secrets to the night, so we can see the end in sight. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. When I look into your eyes, I can see no better light, better light than love.
Going to be a quick counter-attack. Silus has the ball. Big knock forward. Waterfall's down and he'll find the target. Opened up from the heavens. Down, a Decadensky player gets a touch right in field, and hold on a minute, it's going to be on target. Rebre knocks out.
Isaac trying to bring this ball away, flipping into the middle. No, NC cuts it off the sidewall. Beautiful redirect. Clear, but Dantronex collects. It's over to the left side where Silence lies. What a pass inside. Dirk and Jazz working together. The low 50 played, ball into no man's land. Hill motion. Takes to the skies, off the ceiling, reset, dunks down!
And Clifty will look to try and take a shot at the upper finals. Still waiting for its real opening. Clifty off the ceiling. Hold on a minute. He will find the redirect! Last time, we introduced this segment, and, well, the first time was so nice, we had to do it twice. There's instant deja vu seeing Velocity RL return on our screens, despite New Blood Darku joining the mix. They faced against a team which thought they could take down the reigning champions, but they'd rather, again, swift work off them. Despite the valiant fight in the third game, Velocity RL got it done in the dying seconds. Now, Outlaws awaited this team again, and, well, they just come off the back of a reverse sweep. Game 5, do they still have the ice? Of course they do! They earned themselves that spot in the grand finals where Velocity RL, the reigning champs, can they finally been taken down? The Icemen, the Piranhas from the lowest from the Wild West still were not enough for Velocity RL. Great saves coming out, desperate on their goal lines, but Velocity RL are inevitable. Welcome back to the Redirect Monthlies. It's myself, Sir Pegasus, yet again, this time joined by my brother from another continent. It's Quanzak.
Wow, man, I love you so much, Pig. Being in the booth with you after that, getting to hear you do your thing. You're such a talented individual, and I'm so thankful to get to call you a friend. But we are here not just to praise one another, but to worry about the Redirect Monthly in front of us. Number 25, quarter way to the 100 mark, and just like you're so talented, so are our players out here on the pitch. It's the highest stacked Redirect Monthly to date.
It's unbelievable. I'm looking down at this seeding list right now. 22 teams above 2K. And by the way, 50 teams signed up and ended up on the bracket. That's not incomplete teams. That's not me trying to inflate the amount that ended up making it into the tournament. 50 teams, 20 of them, 40% over 2K. I don't think you understand how incredible that is. Europe is chock full of talent. We even saw the return of the first ever Redirect Monthly winner. And of course, Velocity RL. That Quanzak newsflash we're going to see again in the upper. I'm just kidding. They're gone. They're knocked out. They were early thrown into the lower bracket. We're not even going to see them there later. The tournament has gone too stacked. So untreaded ground, and it's an absolute pleasure to cast over some of these guys yet again that have somehow taken down the players that I was calling the GOATs of the Redirect Monthly in the last event. Ridiculous.
They are the most storied team here for the Redirect Monthlies, and for a reason. How many titles do they have underneath their belt? Almost more than you can possibly count. I'd hope you can count up to that high, but it's the majority of events that we've had here that is so crazy that Velocity have been involved in the grand finals or the winners for each and every single one of them, and yet because this tournament has gone to be the caliber that it is, they're gone before we're even going to see them in a stream game, and it felt like they were always going to be a staple. So, new stories to write, new arcs to follow, and somebody's name will get to be the star MVP of today's Redirect stream, and it won't be the man who always shamelessly plugs his Twitch each and every single Redirect Monthly.
Oh, thank goodness we didn't mention it during the intro. I mean, he didn't earn it this time, right? No, instead it is going to be Proyecto Haaland versus Handmade SMG. And we've got some returning faces here for the Redirect Monthlies. It's the players that I like to call Mr. Redirect Hype Video. Nashiti, Vizek, and Rife taking that orange side with Surrounded, Marshy, and Hopeless, with a little bit of an international roster there for Handmade SMG.
It'll add some flair, some sauce. You know, not that region, not that rosters from a single country can represent and play. But I do feel like a lot of European Rocket League is almost sectioned out to have individual flair and poise from the country that they're from. And I'm really curious to see what Handmade SMG is bringing to the table here. It's some very quality players. All rosters, or all of those players on that roster we are familiar with, but it should be a very good bout between these two teams, especially upper final. There's a lot to play for. You know, going down the lower versus ending up in the grand final with guaranteed paycheck. I mean, we harp about this every single time, but you've made it this far. Arguably, this is more important than the grand finals. Of course, it isn't, because you want to win the whole thing, but it's important.
Absolutely, and it's going to stack up well for that grand final spot. That's what they're playing for, ladies and gentlemen. The upper final, the first one on the main broadcast. Will it be the international team of Handmade SMG to take down the Spanish Inquisition? Proyecto Haaland face Handmade SMG for the first series of the day. Quanzek, I'm so excited, and you've recognised all the new overlays we've added so far. And just as you're getting to grips with those that were introduced in the very last event, how about a new in-game overlay as well? We just keep on getting better.
Oh man, the upgrades around these ports are unmatched, unrivaled, and they're just going to continue to get better. We know the man behind the scenes is always working to improve, not just what he has going on, but everything else as well. And we'll get underway here in game number one, and I'll let you go ahead and throw over to you, Pig, because I'm going to tweak something over on my end real quick, and we can enjoy this wonderful Rocket League action.
Yeah, you got to get one and all here into the broadcast, because this is going to be a big day of Rocket League, as it is every single month. So make sure you are following us on all socials, and by us, I do of course mean the Redirect socials. However, I wouldn't mind if you'd pop over to mine and Quanzex as well as Hazard. Good starts here coming from Proyecto Haaland. They've been able to hold down Handmade SMG for the first couple of minutes, but you do feel like they can't find any space in that final third. Eventually, that first mistake is going to creep itself in. Surrounded first on, Marshy takes it over, and there is the moment you were looking for. SMG start off the main dream.
Ask and you shall receive. You clearly mentioned the mistake that might creep up on you, and here we go. Handmade SMG just get a free look into the net, take that shot on, and it's going to sail right into the back of the net of Proyecto Haaland. And we're underway here. 1-0 for Handmade SMG, and not one they really had to work for. Maybe this one, though, they will. Marshy still on that ball all the way across. Couldn't find the double, but not of the woods yet are on. Finally, controlling over the corner. Shot on, won't manifest in the shed, and finally clearing it out.
Handmade SMG again looking to hold down those final thirds. Nashiti wants to find the other corner of ice. It's going to get stolen to that Boots. Life sacrifice as well in the meantime. And Rife gets a little bit of a desperation touch here. Handmade SMG going to have to try their very best from their own third. It's an unfamiliar position for them with the amount of offense they've been able to sustain. However, Proyecto Haaland are playing their own game against them, clamping down in these own corners. Handmade SMG have made to be the team with desperation. However, still needs to find the back of the net, and what a way to do it. Nashiti off the ceiling, a flip reset to follow. SMG getting a taste of what this team's capable of.
Yeah, they looked a bit lackluster to open up things, really just stuck in their own half, but Nashiti proving that, hey, they're here for a reason. A brilliant solo play, flip reset into a very well-placed shot. Looking to double dip now. Vizek off the ceiling, just going to drop it down. No real boost to threaten anything there. And going to retreat back alongside his team as this one's reflected off of that sidewall. Double commit will get the ball out as Marshy goes straight up the ladder. Vizek, that's just an easy read, and that's in the back of the net.
And you cannot make a hash of your touches in the middle of the pitch when you're against this kind of caliber. Marshy, the ball is away from his car there by about a fingernail worth of length, and that's enough for the offensive play to recognize that he's out of control. It's these small differences that can decide your game in the upper final in these redirect monthlies where the competition is getting stronger and those margins are getting even thinner.
It's a really good point you bring up. I mean, our heralded team of the monthly Hall of Records, Hall of Fame, if you will, is out. And there's a reason for that. The quality of teams here, the quality of players are at just another level. And you aren't afforded those same liberties of these errors every now and then. You have to play much more disciplined, controlled Rocket League, and you can't miss opportunities like that. I like the look from Nishidi going for that little redirect tap, but can't get it on frame.
And this is going to be all hopeless, keeping the ball close. It's a lovely first pop. He's going to be hunting for that demo as well. And as soon as he bailed away from the ball, as soon as you saw him collect the flip, you had an idea of what that next play was going to be. They called it the unstoppable move a couple of years ago. It feels like that title is still worth the play. Equalizer obtained, 4 goals past 3 minutes. We're in for a wonderful day of Rocket League.
Could have overtime in our very first game here. Nishidi, he's done it, threatened from here before, couldn't do it again. Handmade SMG, much more privy to the fact that he can be lethal from those angles, as surrounded. Goes around the corner, can't fully catch that one into the back of the net. Marshy taking over around that bend. Just going to play the possession touch. Surrounded, pop up. Can't do much more than that as here comes Rife back the other direction. Flip reset. Over the top of one. Surrounded. Will handle before any more shot can threaten.
It's a big counter coming from SMG. Hopeless. Perhaps look for the double. Wanted to go on that first touch. Defense did well to block first. Rife is going to have to bail that one away. It's a lovely first touch coming from Marshy yet again. Dunk's not quite there to follow. And a lot of this game so far here, Quantek, felt like it's all about those soft touches, about keeping that control, because as soon as you lose it, all of a sudden, the ball's being passed around your box and you are desperately looking for your escape. Big goal here in the final 30 seconds. That's where things are going to start to get really dangerous for Proyecto Haaland. It's felt like we've been waiting for that final minute to bring it all together. Hopeless with that first touch, caught on by Marshy. They're going to have to play this ball out wide, buy some time for that clock to go down. They haven't been able to do so, so it's going to be a blue side attack. Look to take this one to an OT. It's Nishidi again. Redirect like the hype video. It's not a one-off. We could have made it all around this individual play. It's a lovely cherry pick on those final lines, and SMG have been punished for their dropping class. 15 seconds on. Still looking for that final goal. Handmade SMG had fought, they'd achieved it. And we've seen this game go back and forth on numerous occasions, but Proyecto Haaland do not know when to quit. In 0 seconds, certainly got to keep your bearings. OT is achieved. And it's going to be the 7 from heaven to take the first game of the day. Hopeless. To get that touch on the corner, didn't quite have the resources to follow on. Surrounded keeps it high. Rife as well for that first 50, but now Nishidi's left completely awkward. He would have likely wanted someone to challenge there with him, because that control touch was going to be so hard to find. You'd want to play off your opponent. Instead, Isaac been able to make that counter-attack himself. Bails away from the second. Nishidi wanted to go on the overlap. But SMG defending valiantly, and they know those moments when they are able to take a little bit of space, when they see that Haaland don't have those chances to just tap the ball down and keep them going. However, this is not one of those instances. Shot on. Great save there from Marshy. You can't be striking the ball straight at the keeper. You've got to be aiming for these corners. You've got to be aiming for a trick play. You've got to have something special if you want to take down this defense. Marshy on. Backboard. Left open. It's a hard angle to follow. Isaac still managing to keep this one out. It's going to be another strike at net. Rife holds on. And second touches land down. There's that option again with Isaac. Well, ball back in the corner. And just past that 1 minute mark, play will continue. It's favored our blue side, but the orange really going to have to step up now.
Marshy, what power on that flick all the way across the length of the pitch. Really good switch play there as Rife gets a solid dunk and continues this push down. Either one of these teams just looking for any sort of answer in this long-winded overtime. Rife can't get there. Isaac looking for any sort of agency here, just working on zero boosts, doing what they can with so little. That's good pop out to Rife, collecting himself off the sidewall, just airing it towards the net, hoping the defense falters, trying to generate some sort of weird bounce. What a bump right for the net. It's off the bar, and Hopeless is barely back in time. Infield for Rife. He can't get there either. And despite the solid shots on net, Handmade SMG, hang on.
And what do you do when perfection is not enough to take down Handmade SMG? You've got to wait for that first mistake, and you've got to create something even more. I mean, you took down that final defender. It was a completely open net, but recovery times, no strangers to the SMG, as quick firing as their name suggests. And now it's their turn in the final third, surrounded on that backboard, looking to find a teammate, but that's a bit more power than anticipated. Marshy is going to have to make it work off the ceiling. That's a lovely initial fake. The follow-up still blocked off by Hopeless. This is perfect Rocket League for our first match of the day. And still, I'm left confused as to who we should favor in this instance, because even at their best, nothing seems enough.
This whole match just feels like controlled chaos. The defense from either side has been running around hoping for the best, and it's somehow working infield. Hopeless intercepts. That's a demo on the back end, but not on Handmade SMG, which means they can come down the length of the pitch and try to set up their own offensive. Rife control in the corner, one power touch over to Visek, give and go, back towards the net, surrounded, cuts it off before that one barrels towards the orange goal.
Marshy, nice, cool tricks there on the ground, will end up stumping on his own teammate. However, this is a big opportunity for Haaland, and he saw that bottom corner with not enough power. The second one has to, but Marshy still with second. Gets that clearance yet again. We are approaching the 4 minute mark, almost double time in OT, and for a second, I thought it'd end on that instance. How foolish. I should have learned by now. No matter how close it gets to that goal line, neither of these players will let it cross.
You feel like there's no more of my seat left to move up on. I'm at the edges of my seat. There's no room. Every single shot, it feels like it's going in, yet it doesn't. Surrounded, doesn't want to bite here. Rife was there first, but he goes now and beats two. Visek gets a good dunk in the corner. Nishidi off the full boost grab, just sends it into open space. Hopeless, hard off the sidewall, forces two to go. Might have an opportunity here. He climbs the ladder, pops over on the ceiling. It doesn't get the arc that he wants, but it falls down. Back out to Surrounded, and that's how it ends into the bottom left. Are you kidding me?
A moment of madness or a moment of magic. That's what I always say. A little bit of luck there for Hopeless as that ball just happens to drop in his car and perfectly lay off to a teammate. What an insane way for it to finish. Haaland ends up taking it. And it is Handmade SMG end up taking it. They do get themselves that favor. What an insane ending to that game. And I just cannot begin to imagine how that must feel if you are one of those DH players, because you've tried your absolute hardest. It has been so close in every single instance. And still, you couldn't get that match winner. That's only the first game of the series as well, and you're already going to be exhausted. This is best of 5 situations.
I was just about to remind you, Pig, and everybody at home that was our first game. Not just of the series, but of the stream. Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh.
If that doesn't set the stage for what's to come, it's so exciting it's broken my camera. Look at me and my blank face stare into your soul. I'll have to get that sorted, but what a matchup, Pig. I am so excited for the rest of this series. I don't even have any real notes for either one of these rosters. It's going to be whoever can be more efficient, capitalize on their chances, because that one took 4 minutes until we finally decided a winner.
And it was early where we saw a bunch of those balls flowing in. It a little time before that started to slow down. Had made FG were holding to their line. It looked like we were going to have another early end of defense to keep the miss for Russia. You know, all kinds of crazy mind. I think Quan is gone, but I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Is going to be please on Grinder. I've just clocked as his name in game. I'm curious which one he's talking about. Marshy Boat on his own backboard. Look at the slam back one down. I tell you what, we've seen Twitch plugs, we've seen Twitter plugs. I don't know what exactly. On Grinder, what does that mean? Production, you got anything to tell me about this? Isaac will be getting that clearance out. And of course, like I said, this is the usual Quanzexa Pegasus lineup where we do occasionally just lose our train of thought to something a little bit crazy. Surrounded coming off that backboard, Nashiti will hold down the midfield. So Pegasus, are you aware of what that is? Listen, I don't know. I might have to hit it up on the App Store, perhaps. Right, though. It's a nice catch there on the midfield line. Wants to get it out wide. That's Proyecto Haaland have to hold down in their own corners. I am definitely getting some words in my ear from production, telling me to focus on the game. And I'll tell you what, I am. It's like that does to say, and I don't know what chat is thinking right now. And I must say, the only grinder I'm familiar with doesn't have any E's in it. Contact, can you be heard?
I believe I am back. Hopeless has just unlocked a sleeper cell agent in you with his name. There's some deep set of your brain that I don't know what your experiences are prior, but they are rambling right now, just like we are. These teams are continuing to be deadlocked halfway through this game, and it's like we haven't really left overtime. There's no opener. Both of them are just trading blows for possession. Shots are comfortably in PH's favor, but with that being said, they haven't been able to cash in yet at all. Vitek had an opportunity. It doesn't go on net. Nashidi curls around from the corner, drops it down, but there's really no play to be had there. He didn't have any help, and now surrounded, double tap off the sidewall. Can't find that redirect.
Nashidi on. And, oh, that's a lovely attempt for a double tap. That's going to find the right hand. And this is what you call picking pockets. Brutal off that sidewall. And completely clipped on afterwards. That's when you'll see on TikTok if he's got any of those available. And that's going to be really frustrating for the handmade SMG side, which has had, it's felt like a lot more of those clear-cut opportunities. But one counter-attack is all it takes. One moment where you give the opposing side space, and especially the backboard on the follow-up. You can only have one. Surrounded, can't grab this ball. Marshy on full boost. He's got a lot of work to do here in the corner because Proyecto Haaland are not going to give them that space to really use it. That's why you've got to make the most of it. In any single one of these instances, it's going to be Marshy yet again. The mind games come out, and this has felt like a bit more of a chess match, let's just say, than the first series we saw.
It does feel like there's a lot more nuance to this game. I mean, obviously, Rocket League is always going to be live adaptations and give and takes, but this is, there's definitely mind games going on. There's strategy here at play. Nashidi can't fully play that one on past the surrounded defender. Hopeless drop down to Marshy. Marshy collecting. It's this one going towards the ceiling. He's hoping. Oh, he goes for a fake low. Has help from Surrounded. They can't get that play there in time, and that might just be in off a little redirect from Visek. It would have been off, but one high sky-soaring touch from Rife, and Hopeless just couldn't get there in time.
That's unfortunate. It's two really frustrating goals conceded from SMG. The first one where they get the ball completely stolen from them. The second one feels like the air has just swept it a little bit stronger. The winds are strong today and it's all going against the favour of handmade SMG. Proyecto Haaland, the final 30 seconds and 2-goal lead. You already feel like at this point that they've got this one in the bag. They're going to be closing down some of those series scorelines, and SMG are going to be back to square one, back to those best of 3 formats. However, opportunities could certainly open up if they can take it. That last attack, though, not really filling me with confidence. Neither is that shot from Nishiti.
Oh, Marshy, good little fake there. Goes up to the ceiling, tries to get something going. Cut off by Visek, though, and Proyecto Haaland's just not letting anything come through. They finished game number 2 on Forbidden Temple with a clean shutout, and are off to the races to tie this series now and put us in store for some very exciting games 3, 4, and 5. We may not get a game 5, but with how this has gone so far, it feels like it's almost certain.
Oh, I'd really love that to be the case. I think it's what we all truly deserve here at the booth after the gameplay that we have seen so far in this series. And what I've also liked as well, Quantec, is it's been rather varying gameplay. We saw in that first game, it was a little bit higher scoring until the very end where they dragged it on to an almost doubled gameplay with how long that overtime was. Whereas in that second, it was a little bit shakier. We had a little bit of a switch up in the booth as well on our focuses for a period, but then they gripped us right back in for those final, I would say, 2.5 minutes where Proyecto Haaland just really started taking on those opportunities, and that's going to force something a little bit extra from handmade SMG in that game coming up.
I'd hope so. Like, this, you have to rebound and pull momentum back in your corner. Not that it wasn't like a hard-fought competitive game too, but from a statistics perspective, there was nothing really going on in terms of shots from handmade SMG. Proyecto Haaland controlled the pace of play. They're the ones that threw everything at the net, and it paid off with the game win that now they can recenter themselves heading to the rest of this series.
Absolutely. Rife getting us off to a good start here. Already we see even kickoffs. I'm hoping that that's going to build up for the rest of these 5 minutes. I love a close game like the one we got in that first one. I want to see constant shots on net. I want to see them answered with constant saves to match. Marshy coming off the ceiling. I'd let that one find the back of the net, but Nishiti doesn't allow himself to get clipped that early. He's the one that does all that action. It's a lovely catch. The follow-up doesn't go all the way through. Surrounded wants to catch it on the sidewall. Now Visek, awkward on his own back lines, awkward with a pinch as well. There's demos all around, but through to find the flames. Eventually, Proyecto Haaland escape and claim another soul as well on their journeys.
Oh, good infield pass. Oh. That is on a rope. Visek slots it in, but he had to do hardly any work. Rife knows exactly where his teammate is, and it's in line for Visek. He essentially just has to double jump, and it's in the back of the net. And this team is finding their stride right now. They're finding their form, and it's up to handmade SMG to meet them where they're at.
And it's taken them about 6 minutes now to reload the SMG, and still counting. And I do get a little bit worried here that if Haaland were able to grab this game in a similar fashion to how they did the last, or even worse, with 2 goals already equaling the scoreline of the last within 2 minutes, we could see Haaland run away with this series. Dynamics could truly change. However, 3 minutes 52 seconds to go in this game specifically. Definitely still time for SMG, but that is certainly going down quick.
Oh, that drop down had a chance to be dangerous. Surrounded. Uh-oh! Oh, no! It's not on target. I thought he was going to be a one-man wrecking crew. Couldn't cash in. Visek, good diving save. Can't get it much further than midfield. Handmade SMG has come alive. This is, you can tell that Handmade SMG, they're pressed against the wall right now. They're trying to find any sort of agency, any real semblance of independence out of the grips of PH, and it might be this. No, Rife
Oh my God.
answers a great shot with somehow even better defense, Pig.
SMG turned cannon. They've just been going for demolitions throughout this game. Oh, that's on target on first touch. That is disgusting from Nishiti. And I already thought, wow, this is going to be a lovely combination play. Get all three players involved. But Nishiti says, Vizek, back to kickoff position. You are unrequired in this instance. Third goal in. And just as SMG looked like they were picking up pace, they were throwing off the aggression as well with those demo counts in their favor. It's still not enough. Haaland fancy themselves in the temporary 2v3s. They fancy themselves in the counter-attack and seemingly any angle possible as well. But hold on, surrounded off the ceiling. This is one for the hype video. Nishiti denies. Rife does as well. Only these players are allowed to open up the scoring. There's goal 4. And I mean, what else could you possibly do here?
And you can feel the frustration. You can see it in their body language even, Pig. They have 10 shots onto PH's net right now. Quality ones, too. They forced 9 saves. And yet they can't find the bat. Okay, well.
Okay. Sorry, what were you saying there, Quan? What were you saying? You might have cut out. Was that a disconnect? What were you saying?
They can't find their keys. They lost them. They did the pat down when they were leaving the pub, and they couldn't spot their keys. So I just was trying to help.
I mean, easy mistake. Back pocket, right? Back pocket. I think that's where they've just discovered it there, and hopefully that's going to unlock a bit more from this team, because it has been all Proyecto Haaland for, well, I said 6 minutes earlier. It's been 2 minutes since we're on to 8 minutes of what had essentially been straight Proyecto Haaland action. First goal in. Now can the next few rounds follow? A sidewall, perhaps? Not quite surrounded with a lovely pop-up, however. Isaac forced to make an awkward touch into that corner. Marshy will steal the boost. And, well, a soul is claimed by the follow-up player as well. Oh, I thought there was a disconnect. No. All men just decided to stop at once. Surrounded wants to find the infield yet again. And I feel like we're really seeing everything from the playbook being shown at this point. We've even seen, fake AFKs come out. What's next to show from this upper final? Well, I've just got a word there that, unfortunately, we have lost the American yet again. Lost at sea. Hopefully he can swim his way back to Europe, where the action does continue for the Redirect Monthly. Marshy. It's a nice first touch on wall. The second one, though, just couldn't find itself. And now this is a big bunch up of that front post. It's one of your first lessons defending in Rocket League. Do not bunch up like that. You're going to make yourself easy to beat on one touch. Marshy's stuck in his own crossbar. It feels like everything that could go wrong is going wrong for SMG at this instance. At least they've managed to dirty up the sheets of their opponents. They've gotten that first goal in their favour. A nice fake down. Nishiti completely open net. 5 goals gone. And this is looking like an unwinnable position for our orange side. That's only speaking games. Gonna need a little bit more convincing to pass that on to the series as well. Proyecto Haaland not quite secured themselves a grand final spot. However, they've certainly gotten themselves knocking. Handmade SMG still got some clawing to do, and I want to see them show it here in these final 30 seconds. Also seen a little bit of a raid here. Thank you, The Witcher, for your party of 3. We really appreciate it. I hope you guys will enjoy the Redirect Monthly action. And, well, this is a game that started off close, however, has definitely veered into that blue direction, as is evident from the scoreline above. That will reset in the next couple of seconds. And Handmade SMG's triumphs might be able to return in that game 4 for now. Right, going for that double flip reset, looking for that true showstopper. And the upper final does progress with Proyecto Haaland collecting themselves a match point situation. Hopefully my co-caster will be able to return for that. But for now, I'm happy to sit here and enjoy the action of Nashiti, almost hitting 1k points, 925 total. And well, with a hat-trick, shouldn't be all too surprised. We see some of these plays unfold coming from the replays, and it must have been a hard one to pick for a producer because there were so many opportunities. For me, that was definitely goal of the game. It might end up being goal of the day, even if we do get a flip reset. Maybe if we do get a double tap as well. There's something about that ground redirect so acute to the angle of the goal. But it's such a hard ball to put away. It's deceivingly difficult. Try and recreate that in a training pack. It will take you about 45 minutes of straight up attempts, I think, to get that goal across. I'm being dead serious here. That is certainly not easy. We've got Konzek smiling, happy as ever with the action in front of him. It's, of course, a very different dynamic of game every single time so far this series, but still been entertaining nevertheless. He's what we call an audience surrogate right now, showing how you all should be feeling. Look after you all. Oh no, I froze for a sec. Don't worry. I thought I was also going to be stuck in position, just like my lovely co-caster. But we're to game 4. Can we hear Konzek? This is going to be the little bit of a test in the first 10 seconds. Calling in from the UK to America. Konzek, are we here?
I should be here, Pig. This is me casting from over the seas.
I'm
oh my gosh.
I'm here.
Oh,
That was my best radio impression of just how what it seems like the current tech setup is right now. A bit outdated, because I'm falling apart. As Marshy is attempting to go from coast to coast and just couldn't get past Rife. It's obvious that Handmade SMG want to come out here and set the tone early, though. They're looking for these plays, early solo plays, lots of passes, just moving the ball around quickly. Don't let it bite you on the back end. Surrounded goal line save off the post. Nobody there for Nashiti's follow through.
They are looking unbeatable in this instance, and try stretched out so far to get that save. The post did deny, and we have gotten our lower final matchup decided. It is going to be rounds. They've been competing in APAC for the RLCS season. They've gotten themselves some fantastic results there as well, but now they fancy themselves a chance in the Redirect Monthly and finding themselves in the lower final. That is going to be a really unfortunate team to have to drop yourself to in your final life.
Yeah, it's not ideal by any means, but it might be something that it's playable. It's not a matchup you want to draw. A very quality APAC roster. They've done their worth in this season of RLCS, but with how either one of these teams are playing, that should be a quality matchup all the same, regardless of who drops down. If Handmade SMG rally themselves back to a comeback, or if it is going to be PH securing the win in the way that we think they will. That's a bit sketchy, though, as they just tee up a free shot for Handmade SMG and get helped along by some bump action.
Yeah, a little bit of team play there as well from Proyecto Haaland, using his own teammates as a golf tee. Unfortunately, that one's completely sliced to the center of the pitch, and of course an orange car off Handmade SMG. And another fun fact about that potential losers final matchup, if Proyecto Haaland do go on to secure their spot in the grand finals through uppers, it's actually going to be a rematch for Handmade SMG versus Rounds. They played them actually in the round beforehand. That one went all the way to game 3, so it's a almost guaranteed close matchup there. This could be the strongest top 3 we've ever had in a Redirect Monthly. It's certainly possible. The competition's there to prove, and Proyecto Haaland look to be at the very tippity top of it.
Yeah, it seems like they can't be slowed down. And this game is weird. It's a different change of pace from what we've seen prior, where there's a lot of defensive errors coming about rather than quality shots. But Proyecto Haaland, they are looking very quality. Every single idea that they're trying to come and hit pay dirt in what they're doing, their own little proverbial gold rush, it is working. There's not a whole lot of slowing down that Handmade SMG has done. There's always somebody there to challenge the ball. The rotations are tight and fluid, and this might be the only time it breaks down. As I say that, I apologize for speaking out, but when two people go for quarter boosts at the same time, that just might tend to happen.
And it's happened quite a few times today already in the first series where Quantec wants to say something and the players immediately looking to prove him wrong, whether that's to their own positives or detriment. They're just absolute haters of my good man alongside me. Rifo on the corner. It's a lovely first touch. Flip preset as well. Going to be a bit of an overcooked play there. Gives the ball away. And that's going to be another clear-cut opportunity for Handmade SMG. And I must say, we're seeing a lot of uncharacteristic plays coming from Proyecto Haaland, where it feels like in their own third, they're not as confident or as organised as they have been before. SMG have been given way more chances than they've been allowed, realistically, for the rest of the series combined.
Yeah, it's a very tight ship that is being ran, and the opportunities are few and far between. That one somehow drops underneath both, and yet nothing comes of it because it wasn't on target, and nobody was really ever expecting it to get there from either team. This one high into the ceiling. Rife uses all of his boost to get there. Surrounded, drop down to Sheedy. Good opportunity for a double. He can't read the waterfall corner ramp, though. And Visek didn't want to bite on it. He was very disciplined in that, but I think he could have gone there. Marshy, collection touch. Good flick around. And Handmade SMG, they're playing defense so far back. You see them recessed into the deep annals of their own orange net, just waiting for the ball to come to them because they've had too many chances where they get a save, it goes off their post, back out, and there's just nothing they can do. At 2 apiece, though, there is the door that can be cracked open for Handmade SMG to force a game 5.
Big demo coming out. First save, Visek for one to follow, blocked off by Marshy. And sitting on their goal line was SMG. We're going to see the same thing on the response. But when you sit so far deep, it's a reactionary Rocket League, at times predictive Rocket League. Nashiti couldn't read that one. Rife didn't have enough in the tank. It's going to be a third goal for Handmade SMG. And it feels like this could be a series to go the difference. New gears are found from SMG that were not seen before. And it's feeling like our opening game yet again, where it is title round. You have to be on your best behavior. And the slides dropping in play will find you racing back to the center of the pitch with a goal difference increased against you.
Insult to injury here. I mean, not that they really... it's a game 5. It's not the end of the series. The Handmade SMG has not just one, not just 2, but 3 goals to make this game 4 a statement piece on what they're looking to accomplish here. That one off the post, off Rife and in, and we're destined for a game 5, Pig. It felt like we were going to get there after game 1, and while we've never had that same level of high velocity octane Rocket League, we are going to get there regardless, and I know it's going to be a fun match in store.
Absolutely. And this one will be reaching its end. 5-2, how about 6-2? And again, it's one of these insane shots off the ground where it is not as easy as it may initially seem here. Surrounded, again, on one of those acute angles. That one coming off the crossbar as well. Albeit, not going to change the results here, Quan. Still guaranteed that game 5. However, going to be an interesting dynamic with SMG seemingly having all that momentum in their favor now.
Yeah, it's... with the rounding of goals at the end there, it would have been different if they won 3-2. But it's almost like PH just completely took their hands off the controller. There wasn't any active playing. They let a few goals in that really shouldn't have. And those uncharacteristic mistakes that we hadn't seen for the rest of the series. That double boost grab to let an open net. Nobody shadowing on the kickoff or turning away from their corner boost. So their retreat back off kickoff to their own net just takes all that more longer. we've seen them be the better team throughout the course of the series, but Handmade SMG, I asked them to find that other gear. They might have just done it with this matchup. So if both rosters can play up to their peak in this series, I think we're off to the races big.
Extension clip, new mods, a completely different weapon on that orange side, and it is that international roster as well. They've been building up a little bit of that chemistry between each other, but this Spanish side, I've seen them play as a team in numerous tournaments, not just these Redirect monthlies, and I can assure you they've been in these kinds of positions before. So I feel like we can't look too deep into that last game and about any momentums, because if they send off this final game flying on Champions Field, I feel like Handmade SMG are going to have their work cut out for them yet again.
Good bump there. Sheedy trying to do what he can. Denied by Surrounded. This one jammed forward by Rife. Pushed along by Marshu. Hey, and Hopeless combined. Hopeless is going to take a shot. Everybody misses until Hopeless can land back on top of it. I know that might be something he wants to do. It's, never mind. The Sheedy coming down here, dropping away as Rife, little pot shot towards the net, and you can see both these teams are anxious with the way that they're playing. That's so obvious right now that they're not confident in their shots. They don't want to follow them. They're just taking hopeful looks at the net and kind of crossing their fingers that they go in, but nothing's really manifested. That's the first quality look by Hopeless. It's generating an opportunity from Marshy. He can't get there, but maybe it's a sign that these teams are now settling into this game 5, a crucial one.
Oh, Surrounded was so awkward on that backwards rotation, and Haaland had themselves a chance. Hopeless going to have to catch on the counter. There's been these little bit of gaps shown by either one of these sides that this time they haven't been able to weasel their way through, but that might be a little bit of a late game fatigue. We saw how long that first game was. It felt like we had a full best of 5 worth of action in that first one. Rife, tap on, looks to fly over. Marshy is going to have to play it off. Corner goes for the dummy instead. Hopeless pounces on, but Isaac will be able to pick it up all for himself. Nashiti, again, looking for those shots shy of the corner, but it is such a clear-cut defense compared to what we were seeing in the first minutes, and I feel like the longer that time does go on, the harder it's going to be able to break away. We could find ourselves in a long OT.
That's a good controlling touch by Isaac. Had to give way to Marshy, but no real threat. Good drop pass for Hopeless. Has he picked a spot? It's off the post and back out, and getting away with murder. RPH. Now, can they use this to break out? Hopeless still trying to find any sort of drop down. That's a crucial demo. It's a 1-on-3 temporarily. Surrounded, retreats and finds a good negative angle save to keep that one out of his net. Rife, open field, takes his time to turn that into towards the net. Rather not a real shot. Has Hopeless finally done it? No! That same post is Hopeless's arch nemesis. That's gonna haunt him in his nightmares, Pig.
A dagger in a heart. And another save just to twist it. SMG have been given their third opportunity. Is this going to be their magic number? Isaac says no. The fourth one says no. It's Isaac yet again with a double, triple save. Make it quadruple as Rife chimes himself in. What more can you do? They're soaking up all the pressure, all the rounds of the SMG. And there's another one looking to find the inside. Nashiti does not even allow those privileges in this occasion. However, defend as you like. You still need to find yourself a goal. I still need more from Haaland on the offensive. Isaac on the backboard. Tries to catch Rife yet again, but Marshy confident enough to go for that block, and at least, even with all these chances against them, SMG have kept themselves flowing, and they've kept that balance between what has been confidence and no frustration shown. They haven't been overcommitting on any of these plays. Haaland, to their discredit, that's going to be rare with how they played so far, have soaked up a bit too much. They haven't made enough of these defenses their own offense.
PH, it feels like they're bailing water out of a little skiff with 27 holes in it, Pegasus. This thing is about to go under. They are, Captain Jack Sparrow saluting it as it goes into the water, and yet they're still hanging on. And somehow, through all these saves, they haven't let one in. They've been on zero boost for what feels like the entire game. We're more than 4.5 minutes in, and they have 3 shots total. It's double commit after triple commit after double commit, and yet Handmade cannot find a window to capitalize. Flip reset from surrounded. They've resorted to violence, and still it's not in. Another save off a respawn, and PH is just looking for an OT. 0-second goal. They gave them the respect. They've earned an OT, and they don't deserve it, Pig. Game 5 to decide who goes to the grand finals.
Unbelievable how Haaland were able to hold on, but its reset and play could be exactly what they needed. Everyone on level pegging now off that kickoff. Visek shot, crossbar denies, as does the defender. Nishiti wants to dunk. It will waterfall down for Rife. Saves this time by surrounding. The colours have switched. SMG have been able to manage. Is why we find ourselves in a Game 5 OT. No one's been able to draw blood. The first goal of the game will decide our first grand finalist. The one goal favouring they get as well as their reward. Surrounded shots not enough. The follow-up won't reach. Defended by their own teammates. A moment of chaos brought upon by Champions Field.
Nishiti has to give way to Surrounded, who grabs that full boost log with the ball. Good flip collection. Hopeless had to avoid the demo, and because of that, he missed the window to receive the pass. PH is finding the most miraculous ways to defend things right now, and somehow it's working. They're still behind the pace of play right now, but at least it's better than before we went to OT. Rife spinning out of control, tries to get back to the ball. Hopeless is still on it. That one played to the sidewall by Nishiti. Surrounded, flip in field for Marshy. It's wide left, turned just aside by the faintest of touches from the defense, and PH will finally not clear the ball past Surrounded. Can he steer this on net? No, they're just playing this ball continuously to the corners over and over again.
And how do you keep those mentals clear and focused, whether it's out of frustration, whether it's out of the constant touches off the ball you have to have, the positioning you have to have, among the others that have been constantly going for these physical plays as well. It's some of the most controlled yet chaotic Rocket League I have ever witnessed. Could Rife bring this to an end? No. Hopeless denies first. Second 50s will play high for the second SMG man, and Nishiti had his work cut out for him with that first touch, but it was crisp to keep the ball close to his car, and still, Quanzek, still it's not enough. A brief moment to breathe for both sides, but we are straight back into the action. Marshy lays off yet again. The backboard. This could be it. The crossbar still says no. Hopeless wants to lay on. Marshy needs this one out to Nishiti, and at this point, what do you throw out for him? It feels like the playbook has been completely thrown, and Nishiti decides the kitchen sink was the next step. A low ball finds himself. A whiff coming up as well. Base on that 50-50 before him. Proyecto Haaland forced to the final seconds. It felt like that was going to be a throwable series for them, but eventually on Champions Field in that overtime, despite all the pressure they face, it was the only shot that mattered. The one that was on target, the one that broke through the defense, the one that secured their spots in the Redirect 25 Grand Finals. Wow.
That series. Proyecto Haaland have to be so thankful that they've gone away with the victory there. What are you holding?
Turn this up.
A fan.
Oh.
A fan, Quanzek.
Are you
It's
too
hot here in the UK, and that game got me sweaty. It really, really did. It cannot be that close this consistently. It's just not the weather for it. It's just not fair on us. It's not fair on the people at home either.
That whole series was just so strange entirely. That first game, multiple minute overtime that took us all the way to the edge, and then it felt like Proyecto Haaland took over the pace of play. They were the better team in games 2 and 3, and all of a sudden it was just this dial that kept slowly turning in favor of Handmade SMG until all of a sudden game 5, if you look at the field domination rank or the possession ratings in that game, they're all going to be in favor of Handmade SMG. They finished with upwards of, I think, 15 shots, and yet they couldn't score. Somehow, PH kept them out of the net and did just enough to secure a win. And I think a rematch between these two teams, there's going to be some bad blood, there's going to be some animosity that's going to go the distance. But my biggest takeaway right now is if I'm Rounds and I was watching this stream and I saw that game, I'm now concerned. Because I just saw the team I'm playing get better over the course of 5 games until they were at their peak and yet still somehow lost. And now I've drawn that hand.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be a fire lit underneath Handmade SMG, and I'll have to see if that's going to be enough to scorch Rounds. As a reminder, for the second time, this is going to be a rematch of one of the upper quarterfinals here in the lower final. A team heralding from APAC, of course, with some RLCS experience behind them. Will it be enough to take on the redirect team of Handmade SMG? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to find out after this much deserved break.
not.
Get it while it's hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back after a little bit of an extended break. That's no problem whatsoever. We are back for some more redirects action. That upper final, it was just a little bit too much to handle. I mean, a game 5 of the first series of the day, you're supposed to ease us in a little bit there and ramp it up until the finals, but you know, absolutely no complaints on this side because it has set up a fantastic matchup for these lowers. Rounds versus Handmade SMG, an actual rematch from earlier in the day where Handmade SMG knocked Rounds down into the lowers in a game 3 victory. There's your two sides there, a beautiful overlay being shown. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to get into the action. I mean, look at the names on your screen here, Quanzek. At this point, they speak for themselves with their pedigree, not just in the redirect tournaments, but internationally.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Rounds are a quality team in APAC. You and I have had the pleasure of not directly commenting them on their team stream, but covering them once or twice, whether it's on the Deku Optimum or more primarily the Luminosity team stream, and they are no slouch of a roster. Several top 8s, top finishes in the APAC region, and there's a reason for it. They know what they're doing. Each and every single one of those players is lethal from any spot on the pitch, and it's gonna be a quality matchup, but you already highlighted it. Handmade SMG got the better of them earlier today, and Handmade SMG ramped up to what I thought was an elite pace of play in that last series. Yes, they lost, but statistically, on paper, they shouldn't have lost. So bad blood all abound, and I'm just curious to see what this actually looks like headed into this series, because it should be a quality losers final.
Absolutely. You got Renshiro and Finzi playing alongside each other. They've been teammates for, it feels like forever at this point, whether it's in a Finnish tournament, the RLCS, or events such as the Redirect Monthly. They've had that time together to build up some of that chemistry. And when you add in Alex, this little bit of a Romanian champion here for them, it just rounds off already such a strong roster, a really talented force that I'm sure is going to set us up for a wonderful lower finals. Where's that going to start, by the way? Oh, hold on. Can you hear the music? Can you see the transition? Ladies and gentlemen, it's revenge for Rounds here in the lower final, holding the essence of Velocity RL, who were defeated earlier today. Can they reach the grand finals and become the new reigning champions?
Oh man, okay, we got the lower final here on deck. Rounds versus Handmade SMG. And here we go. There's so much to play for. This is guaranteed money if you win. No matter what, worst you can finish is second. Yes, you're still on the podium at this point, but both of these teams here for the long haul, as there's a little bit of chaos immediately off the kickoff. Sideways rule 1 is hopeless. Double tap won't find it. But Rounds sporting their across the board club titles will watch this one sail into their net. Surrounded just to tap in, and look at that, 10 seconds in, Big.
And there was already some concerns there off the opening. First of all, the fact that not all 6 players joined before that countdown started going, that got me a little bit scared that we were going to have ourselves a full start. The fact that we saw a concession in the first 10 seconds. I'm curious to see if this is going to act a lot like how these two played in that upper quarter finals matchup, where it was close throughout, went the full distance, albeit it was a best of 3, so it was a little bit of baby steps, let's just say. However, someone's going to get his big boots on, go the full way. Rounds aren't going to get that equalizer. It's a huge first save there from Homemade SMG. That one goes straight out the playbook of the upper finals.
Team bump here between Nessie and Alex, and that's just weird situation that transpired. Surrounded gets bumped off, and Nessie will be there to push that forward. And Shiro gives way to Marshy, and now Alex. That's a good backboard defense touch, but Rounds, they look disconjointed on the breakout. They are finding quality challenges, they're just not finding their own teammates, which is the concern that I have, that it's really just hitting the ball to hit the ball, and yes, you're alleviating pressure, but Handmade SMG have had possession this entire time, and that's really the primarily reason why. Hopeless flip reset, tries to go low, had that one taken away from him. Surrounded can't get there, but Marshy will take over.
And he's got plenty of space and time to do so. The boost count's not quite fair, but a first flip reset but done could have been enough. Angled well, though. Was the final round's defender. Fincy still has some work to do. There's a pocket picked in the 6-yard box, and I felt like that was going to be a second goal for Handmade SMG, but what have you learned so far about this Redirect Monthly? That ball, certainly not a goal till it crosses that line. We've seen so many recovery saves come out. There's a special one there from Marshy. In the very last of his tank there to reach the end of it. Alex will look to pop this one up. He looks unfortunately there for the second, but Marshy, also on a low resource, wasn't able to pick it up, and it just felt like all round there. That ball was just left to scramble high. It feels like no one really wanted to commit themselves towards that ball. Boost counts are low all around, and is that a lack of ambition? Is that not wanting to throw yourself out of play? Is that not controlling your boost count? Well, luckily, got a pretty good coach alongside me to explain.
Thank you. That's I appreciate the shout out. I do some coaching, just not the level of these two teammates. What my understanding was, you're on defense, you're on the back foot, and you don't want to bite because everybody knows, and we harp on it so much, Pig. Oh, it's a double commit. The defense is now in shambles. Oh no. And so you're watching your teammate in front of you, but if they're in an uncomfortable position, they think they're awkward, they don't want to go, and it creates this whole situation that apparently Handmade SMG has just not recovered from. That touch by Marshy, he was hoping for the corner. He can't quite get there, and it just turns into a free shot that goes off the post and in. And Rounds, after looking haphazard, have now found 2 unanswered.
And it felt like Homemade SMG so far have been so risk averse, but that one, that was a complete miscalculation in the complete other direction. They left their nets completely open for Rounds to take complete advantage of, and you don't want to allow any unforced errors to go in the favor of Rounds, because when they can already create plays themselves, you cannot be giving them that bonus. Otherwise, not only are you going to find yourself a few games down, you might just find yourself out of the tournament with nothing to show for it. Finzy, if he's here with surrounded on that left wall, Marshy's going to fake that first chance and was able to recover on the second. A bit of a mad position to find himself in. Paid off in the end, but Rounds really don't know how to let off. It's a nice pancake down, but Alex ended up jumping a little bit early to that one.
Have you ever made an unintentional pancake, Pig? Like,
absolutely.
Oh, wow. I somehow ended up with batter and got a pancake out of it. That was Fincy. Couldn't do anything with it, though. It's just one touch from Hopeless and a high pop touch over the top of Fincy, and coast to coast goes Hopeless, who, when this Handmade SMG team has needed a little bit of a boost, it's been Hopeless who has taken to center stage and rallied his team behind him. Here he goes again, off the ceiling, flip reset. Can he get back to the ball? It's a shot on Devil as well. Renshiro, good shadow defense, but needs help now from a respawning Fincy. Will get there just in the nick of time, and Rounds won't concede a go-ahead goal.
Oh, sniped for Demo here. Allows that second man surrounded. Try and have a pop at net, although recoveries came in too quick, and you could see him just shy away from it. It feels like this has been an entire game dictated by that risk assessment. Whether you want to try and take those chances, whether you want to chase towards that ball, whether this is something you've got to pounce on immediately. It's all these little decisions that have come together to this 2-2 scoreline we see ahead of us right now. However, maybe this time a bit of individual excellence. No, blocked by Rounds. Back into the corner, hashing its way out, and no questions really asked there by Renshiro. He knows that his ball to take.
It's such a patient team, this Rounds roster is. Sometimes they do fumble defensively, but I would put them up there for how elite they are at backboard defense. There's always somebody ready for it. Not once has Handmade been able to go off the backboard to set up some sort of play, and they're steering that ball from their own threshold above the net off into the sides of the pitch, where it creates a much lower percentage shot. It's gonna be less threatening to take that from the sides instead of head on, like we see right here, surrounded, only 5 seconds OT, and it's shot out of a cannon past the head of Renshiro.
And he just didn't know what to go for there. Flew himself forward and immediately recognized that he had made that mistake. And as soon as he tried to turn himself around and recover, it was already too late for him. And it felt like that today has been the day of those recoveries. We've stepped up a peg now. You just can't make those mistakes in the first place.
Yeah, we opened with this, of the caliber of competition is so much higher, and Renshiro just got a little bit too greedy, trying to take a wider angle, and without missing a beat, saw his opportunity, hit that with the most power possible on the corner of his Fennec, and slung that into the top left of the net. Rounds played a good overall game, just collapsed one too many times defensively, letting goals that really shouldn't have gone in otherwise, and as a result, Handmade SMG will put themselves up in prime position to start the series.
And they come back from APAC here rounds against the full European roster from all around Europe as well. And they're not really struggling all that much. It felt like a majority of those goals against them were completely off their own accord. And unfortunately, I feel like that's something that's a little bit recognizable for these rounds teams. They're so quality in the build-up. In the final third, they can string these passes together. Like I said, they've got that chemistry from consistent hours and consistent months of playing together. But then there are just these little individual hiccups that build up a little bit too quickly against them. And when you are playing such high-level Rocket League and truly every single goal counts, you can't afford to have those mistakes.
Yeah, and that's just... It goes to show you not just the quality of caliber team that Rounds is and where they fall short, right? Rarely are you going to see this team double committing. It's just the mechanical errors individually, like you were highlighting, Pig, that are coming back to plague them. Like that touch right there by Alex. Definitely not the angle of attack that he wanted along that sidewall, and that's enabled Handmade to set themselves up. Marshy, a little bit of an air dribble bump there. Can't find the surrounded. Bit off more than he can chew on that attack. Cheating Hopeless will be able to stabilize, though, as Marshy gambles that one's not in. It ricochets hard off the post, and he plays great defense inside his own net to bounce back out, trying to sling that redirect in. Marshy has Hopeless lying in the weights. It's going to be a drop pass down to him. That one will be wide left.
And we've spoken about the redirect monthlies being a hub for a lot of these teams that we'd say out the bubble or just verging into the RLC. Yes, Handmade SMG are certainly making the most of it. It's a lovely challenge by Marshy in that corner, but Renshiro, again, was just playing for one opportunity. He needed that 50 to land perfectly. Otherwise, it was going to be a guaranteed goal against him, and I felt like it was needless in that instance. Handmade SMG having gifted that first goal, but I tell you what, they've gotten that package, retied it up, sent it right back, return post, 2 rounds for the equalizer.
You know, usually you're re-gifting gifts you're not a fan of receiving. A free goal in the losers finals of a redirect monthly. That's pretty sweet to me. I feel like I'd want to hold on to that, but Marshy says, you know what? We can give this one right on back. He gets just too cute coming out of that corner, trying to go for a nifty little redirect instead of just taking a guaranteed touch. Can't make contact, and Rounds come in to scoop up the free goal.
And Chiro backboard, second, third man waiting. It's going to be Fincy with a completely open net. Second goal accredited. All coming from really aggressive play they've thrown themselves with. It was so much decision making for Handmade SMG in defense. It felt like multiple games of rock, paper, scissors having to be played at once. And once that first dominant fell, as did the space between the sticks. Easy second goal for Rounds, and it's just one of those series here, Quonsec, where It's either going to be the smallest of mistakes or the largest.
Yeah, that touch off the back wall there. That rounds found, I believe it was Fincy. He got a quality touch, and quality clear is... That really won't matter here, is forcing their way in is handmade SMG. Surrounded pop touch. Alex just doesn't have any boost, and Fincy, there's no room to work with. Marshy's just there to swell up the angle, and we're going to continue to trade blows. I wouldn't call them really haymakers. It's just tap and goal, small little jabs.
What?
How has this worked? It hasn't. Okay? 2 players combined for the weirdest pop touch, and then Marshy saves it. That, I feel like, is on par for the course that we're currently on.
I'm just completely confused with that last play. We're going to move on. Okay. And another just double commit bet from handmade SMG on the ball. I guess I just cannot ignore it anymore. It's something that's creeping up in their game. It was something that was more characteristic of rounds, I must just say, at the beginning. But they've seemingly caught each other's bug. And that looks like Renshira at the end of game 1. Like I said, completely catching the bug. Prepped a little bit too far forward, a bit too confident on the play, playing for literally one outcome, ignoring the 99 potential of the ball. Just rolling its way into the back of your net. Quanzek, I'm going to say that phrase I've always said when we cast together. It's felt like a call and response type of game. Our handmade SMG going to respond. No?
Oh, no. How about, I mean, is it still call and response if you're calling and responding to your own mishaps? Like,
I guess so.
Hopeless.
I guess so.
Hopeless just watched Surrounded whiff on the ball and said, you know what, I'm going to raise you. Anything you can do, I can do better. Hopeless can't find it off the kickoff. He can find a scorching pinch that Alex will be able to handle, but blink and you may have missed it. If you're just returning to us after like a 3-second break, yeah, handmade SMG have conceded 2 freebies and rounds is now feeling pretty comfortable.
However, it could be a little bit of a Fibonacci call and response. A 1-1-2 if they're able to pull off those 2 in a row and bring this one back to equal. They've got plenty of time to do so. 100 seconds. Game. Only fancy your chances. Marshy wants to take it alone. That bum comes off. The damage was already done, but a second man was already well. And potential side B show, not quite. We can dream. Contact one of these days. We're going to see the ultimate redirect.
My co-caster has just quoted the Fibonacci sequence mid Rocket League broadcast. I understand you are math-focused, Pig. This is what you're at uni for, but this is, that you might rival me in terms of nerddom. Are you kidding me? We just went 1-1-2 and quoted the Fibonacci sequence.
It's
What's
on.
next?
Wait, it's on. It's
3?
on.
Oh my gosh, there's a 3 on the scoreboard. Okay. Rounds. We need you to score. We need you to continue this arc of getting our 5 in there, because guess what? 2 + 3 is 5. And you can make it happen. Come on, Alex! No! Surrounded! Ruined my co-caster's dreams! This is everything he's lived for!
This is disgusting. I can't see. Only reason I got the degree in the first place, so I could make really niche references during casting calls. Oh yeah, that's 40 grand down the drain or whatever. Handmade SMG on their final thirds, looking for that desperation final play. They've got 30 seconds to do it. If they do so, of course, that does put them on a match point situation. Rounds are just looking to reduce this best of 5 into a best of 3. When Shiro's bumped off, there was space on that backboard, quickly shut down by one of the final defenders. Fincy has work to do on that front post, and you have to take those touches perfectly. It's one of those areas of the game that I really feel like does not get enough attention. Another one comes through. SMG, we're looking for that buzzer beater. 5 seconds to go. The ground heating up. The floor is truly lava now, but Marshy looking to reverse himself into the play, cannot find the touch. Rounds pass it around them. It's awkward in the corner. But hold on, Marshy's got open space on the left. The backboard's left open. No one wants to commit. Hopeless is cool, calm, and collected. It's blocked from the top corner. How is this ball? Is that an own goal? It's not from Alex. Rounds equalised the series, but did they have to fight till it's
There were definitely legs there, and despite our like minute-long tangent on the Fibonacci sequence, we kind of just missed Handmade SMG's fight in this game. Finishing with 14 shots total, rounds defense kept the minute, and to be honest, our first like 6 goals of this game were really just flukes abound. If Handmade SMG don't gift over 3 separate goals in this game alone, I think it's a different story, but Hopeless, Marshy missed one, Surrounded missed one, and Hopeless missed one. All 3 of them got involved. It's a team hat trick for conceding free goals. So there should be no qualms in that voice chat. They all did the same thing. They got their freebie out of the way, and now they can worry about the rest of the series moving forward.
I really hope they don't watch this back, because Contact is keeping count of every single individual mistake that a player is doing. But listen, I'm going to be honest here. If these 2 teams like stopped the random backflips, the random overextensions, I'm so curious to see what kind of series this would be, because it has felt like a majority of those goals have come from those last man mistakes. Of course, those are going to be present in a match that is so high pressure, that is so many shots being barraged towards your net. Eventually, some are going to sneak their way through. But even for that kind of natured game, it's a little bit more than I'd come to expect from these caliber of players. Maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's this summer heat as well that I am absolutely cooking in, or the pressure of the mainstream. But they need to clean it up for the rest of this series. Game 2 down in a best of 5, however, at least 2 more to go. Surrounded is ready to heat himself up.
And this is more on par on what we're expecting, right? This is the angle that Surrounded gets on that flip reset in order to control that in underneath the bar is immaculate. Let me remind you, this is our 2nd and 3rd highest seeded teams here today. 2,267 MMR for rounds, and only 40-something under that for Handmade SMG. Not a whole lot separating these 2 teams, and the amount of weird backflips and just missed touches we've had does not feel like we're at the top 0.001% of Rocket League right now. But here we are. Hopefully Game 3 can stabilize us into what can be a great best of 3 heading into the rest of the series, because these 2 teams look closer in form right now.
First minute gone. My assessment, it definitely has been a stronger game from both of these sides so far. Of course, SMG having that upper hand, but not to downplay the pressure that rounds have been able to apply as well. They know they've got plenty of time on the clock. They're not going to throw the kitchen sink now. They know those chances are going to fall on their lap eventually. Marshy will sit this one out deep, and I love the round 2nd and 3rd man just prepared for that ball. They didn't see themselves commit too far forward. They didn't waste any of that boost in the tank. They didn't concede any positions or awkward touches. That being said, got a response to this one. Finzi still looking to carry himself forward. A little bit of a desperation touch, but he's made it work with that neutral demo. The pass inside is denied by the lifesteal from an SMG defender. Finzi, again, just looking to pounce on. Decision making, I must say, Konzek, different level in the game, and this has immediately felt like that 0.0001% you were talking about.
Yeah, it's much more controlled here, and I feel like that's just what we were missing. These teams were scrambling, not in the sense our first series was, of Handmade SMG versus... I'm struggling here. PH. Proyecto Haaland. That first series felt chaotic in the sense of, like, there was no slowing down. Both those teams were juiced and running wild. And it's just whatever happened, happened. Here, it's much more controlled and disciplined. With that being said, the first real mistake we've seen in this game, a double commit on the side of rounds, led to a 2nd goal for Handmade SMG, and it's going to have to be cleaned up if they want a fair shake in the remaining half of this game.
Absolutely, and like I said about this round side, I would love to see how they play if they didn't have some of those one-off moments, because when they are in possession, again, they are extremely strong. This doesn't feel like a game that deserves a 2-0 lead for Handmade SMG until that goal was scored. Now I'd say it is thoroughly deserved. What a ball there from Marshy. That was perfect off that top corner, and Hopeless in the air, playing that little bit of mind games there to decide when that final touch is going to come. The Rounds defender, he has to go for that ball. If he doesn't go off that wall, if that power shot had come, again, he'd completely lose the play. It's one of those where you've just got to hit and hope, and unfortunately, his prayers were not answered, and Marshy is going to ruin his dreams as well.
Yeah, it just feels like Handmade SMG are letting a goal in for free again. What? Somebody surely could have gotten there.
Oh, that is...
Surrounded goes higher, and Marshy breaks on the sidewall. What?
Fincy, I love you. Fincy, I love you. That was an awful shot. I have no idea how that has found the back of the net. He wanted to catch it off the bounce. He wanted some power behind it. It just scuffed its way across the ground. I have never quite seen a shot like that. That was a lovely touch as well, coming from Hopeless on that play there. And just when we felt like the quality had increased, we've just had these little skips in play. And of course, when you have just one guaranteed goal at this level, so it's not to say that this game hasn't been a majority incredible top level Rocket League, but it's not the top level Rocket League that seemingly is going to dictate this series.
No, I mean, we did spend 3 minutes saying like, oh yeah, this is the, not 0.001%. This is, we're finally there. And all of a sudden, nobody goes for it. It's a weird flop shot from Fincy that finds the back of the net. And this one too, I thought, I mean, it's just a good bump play, I guess. Renshiro has to avoid Marshy breathing down his neck, takes a wider angle, and that's capitalized on the shot there from Hopeless that ends into the far right of the net. Fincy collecting this. Has to be a lot of work done soon from Rounds, but Fincy can't find that flip race and really just loses possession. Renshiro will try. Alex there in a very good spot to follow up his own teammate. Surrounded pop touch over to Hopeless, who kind of fumbles on that flip off the wall, boosted the wrong direction initially and lost a lot of momentum. But I think Handmade SMG, with at least how well they're securing the midfield third right now, they've done the hard work in getting a 3-goal lead, and they can coast on to set themselves up on match point.
The rounded flip reset, he'll be able to hold on. Great save there from Fincy. That one will just hit itself out wide. Marshy look to recycle that play back down, get some mid boost as well. Preparing for that counter-attack. He'll look to boom that one back, and this is the chance now. Off the ceiling, top-level Rocket League. Who's on the follow? Where is the follow? Where are the defenders? Who's got the boost? It's completely open for Rounds, and they missed! Oh my gosh, eventually the back of the net found. Just got a word from the producer who says this is the game of all time. One phrase comes to mind here, Quanzak. Never let them know your next move. They haven't.
Yeah. I mean, look, it was a hype sequence there. In the back of my head, I couldn't help but think that it's pointless, though. Like, yeah, round score. Okay, look, winner. Handmade SMG on your screen. Big whoop. It's momentum, I guess. But now you're staring at 2 match points for your opposition where you just really didn't play a great game. Got to rebound hard in games 4 and potentially 5. And we know this team can do it, right? They're a top team who played in the APAC region. They will be competing in the EU LCQ. Breaking news here. I do think that's mainly just because APAC doesn't have an LCQ spot. But regardless, they're getting in here to just have a good time and contend for a world spot. And I do think this team can make some waves. It just won't happen with how they're currently playing. Their defense is so poised, they can find each other offensively, but for a team that doesn't really like to sport their own mechanical flashiness all that often, there's one too many double commits for me to be that comfortable backing them in this upcoming game 4.
And by the way, I do just want to give Rounds the benefit of the doubt here. Of course, there was no APAC LCQ, but I've seen certain teams go to MENA instead. So fair play to them.
Yes, that's worth
going
pointing
to
out.
EU for the LCQ. Definitely worth pointing out. But as for this series, I felt like we've asked a lot of questions throughout it here. And we're going to wrap back to that university degree, right? They're like me on any assignment. Lots of questions asked, waiting until the deadline to truly answer them. They're on their final life now, and Handmade SMG, they've got a little bit of momentum in that favor coming out of that last game. It was a lot more goals that were actually earned by their own qualities there. It wasn't just a straight up mistake from Rounds, a double commit, an overcommit or the like. Sure, there were 1 or 2 of those, but ultimately they scored 4, and I would say at least half of those were off their own fantastic gameplay. Game 4 awaits, and this is going to be a fight for survival from Rounds. This is actually, as well, an equal series score from their last matchup in the upper quarterfinals. This time, however, it will not end the series standings.
It will not. And that's something that's definitely worth mentioning here, as it's, you know, there is still a lot to play for Rounds. Obviously, you still want to be involved in this tournament, as that is a triple commit that we've just seen. Okay, that's at least they didn't get punished for it, but let's get that out of the way now. This is a must-win game for you lads. You lose this, you're done. You finish in 3rd. Yes, it's a podium finish, but there's no actual payout. And okay, Surrounded.
Credit's due. Gorgeous.
Well played.
Gorgeous from Surrounded. I mean, Renshiro has hit that one high. It's a double commit from Finzi, but that is not an easy ball to put in the back of the net. It was excellent to clear that one through. And listen, if you don't hit, you're never going to score. Handmade SMG off to a fantastic start in this first minute. It has been all them in possession. Rounds, like I said, still with a fair few questions to answer. However, ample time in this specific game to do so, wherever it's in the full context of the series, really start to get a jog on. SMG should have been in possession of the ball, but Surrounded felt away from this one.
Oh, good controlling is that. Oh, okay. I thought for a second it was going to be saved. I started to freak out. But Renshiro just bullies his way through, gets the smallest of ricochet bounces off his car unintentionally off the post. But they all count the same, and that's such a good goal to pull momentum back into your side when this Rounds team already has 5 saves in only a minute and a half into this game number 4 pick.
Hopeless on Marsha. You can see him play tight to it. Alex was able to get a 100 boost as well. 2 players back. Renshiro will be that first. Alex has definitely got his work cut out for him. 2 players waiting inside. This one will cruise on over. It was they've coming from Surround, but again, these clearances not really falling into safety for either side. It's definitely been some extended offenses off the back of the defense's clears. Nice ball inside. Finzi boat reads on. This is where you've got to continue. Get it on the bounce. That's a heavy touch force from the low boost and a great placement of that shot. It's all got the building blocks here. Now you just got to stack them all together, and we're going to see that 3rd goal come shortly.
Finzi, good controlling touch. She actually can still stay on that ball. Just didn't have enough boost nor the recovery time to catch back up, but will cash in with a demo on his exit. Great infield pass from Hopeless. Even better interception by Renshiro. Looking for Alex. A little bit of give and go. That Hopeless intercepts. Pop touch by Alex. Renshiro drop down, hoping for Finzi. He's going to steer it back in field. A little bit too projected, though. That play took too long to transpire, and Hopeless was able to get back in time. Infield aerial dunked by Alex, letting Hopeless know that he was temporarily his father. Marshy double tap off the back wall. Alex, really good save, and he's really come into his own recently. The star player in just the last 30 seconds.
Oh, ceiling pinch as well from Handmade SMG. Forces out another heavy touch from Rounds. A little bit of a give and go with the opponents in that instance. Demos coming out too. Rounds fighting to survive on their own line, as it's felt like a little bit of a game of tennis here, or that new one-sided heat seeker mode going on. As soon as you touch the other side, there's a demo coming, but Hopeless on the 1v1 certainly fancied his chances. And with Renshiro and I believe that's Fincy's aggression, they've left the lone Romanian in between the sticks. And it very much felt like a 3v3 turn 1v1 there. You couldn't see a single other car on that camera.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Alex didn't have the liberties of a 1v1 of having all the boost be available to him, was just sat square in the middle of the net, completely out of momentum with only about 20 boost in the tank. Did what he could to swap as much of the net as possible, but just a higher quality flick from Hopeless. That's given his team the lead here. They are on the back foot defensively currently, trying to get out of the woods, but things haven't been answered quite yet until Surrounded has pushed that one out of their own half. Went along, goes Alex, and just can't cycle this ball out of this corner. They keep trying the same sequence, and it's not working out yet. This one fed along by Surrounded, and now going to be brushed by Hopeless, and it's very obvious that Handmade's just burning time right now. They're content to just soak the pressure from rounds, steer them into the corners, and then find a clearance touch. There's no heavy commitments on any of these balls in the midfield. And Renshiro, I thought he might have picked this spot, but he can't get it south of the bar.
And it was such an intelligent play there. And another one waiting on the backboard. It really feels like rounds are giving it everything. Renshiro was certainly giving it everything. That's 2 chances gone away. It's kept the offense flowing. That big clearance is going to slow it down. However, possession still favoring the Blues. Scoreline still orange-sided. And now Homemade SMG waited for their moment to strike a potential 3rd goal to secure their spot in the grand finals. But rounds keep the ball flowing. It's a 0-second like a few games before. How long can they keep it up? Hopeless is going for a dunk, and that will see them in the grand final. Rematch has been earned for them, and they're going to have to go and fight yet again in a match before where they went the full distance. Rounds caught in their own rematch in this instance, unfortunately face a rather similar scoreline.
I do feel like that was the best match from rounds all series long. And to have that come when you're now losing is devastating. If you started this point sooner, I definitely think we have a more competitive series. Not that it wasn't competitive. Almost every single goal was just game was just a 1-goal difference. It just felt like rounds didn't have that oomph behind them. There wasn't a ton of gusto, a ton of gravitas behind their gameplay. And unfortunately, they will fall short. It's a podium finish, but one without any of the benefits of a traditional 3rd place finish. And we will wish to see them in future redirects. I'm sure they'll be joining us. And good luck, gents, in the EU LCQ. I know you'll have a lot of fans behind you and rallying. But Sir Big Assist, it's on to the grand finals that we turn our attention.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure here on a Redirect broadcast so far, but we're sick to death of these best of 5s. We'll be back a little bit later for some weighted best of 7 action. It has been winner takes all for the last 2 Redirect monthlies. This time, we might actually see 2nd place take something home, but who will get that absolute minimum of that £70? Well, we'll just have to wait after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Redirect 3v3 monthly. No, doesn't that have a wonderful ring to it? It's a nice round number as well, but it is that time of day to crown ourselves a champions. Velocity RL are about to be dethroned by one of either Proyecto Haaland or Handmade SMG. Of course, this is a rematch from that upper final, and Quanzek, what an upper final that was. I'm glad to see this happen again.
I'm thrilled for this matchup. I mean, yeah, it's not 25. Redirect Monthly 25 is no longer a round number because Rounds has just left the tournament. But we do have a fantastic rematch between these two teams, Handmade SMG and Proyecto Haaland. We were looking at this in the upper final, and both of us basically said in exiting that we want this to happen again. And here we are. Proyecto Haaland have gotten to watch along, seen Handmade SMG claw and fight their way back. These guys have gotten nothing but screen time here today. They are farming you and I, casting pick assists, but it's all for the better. We can have a great time in the grand finals. As a reminder, Proyecto Haaland, it's a weighted best of 7, as my co-caster said. They will be coming in with a 1-game advantage in this best of 7. So we're technically starting in game number 2 here, with game 1 already being won by Proyecto Haaland.
And again, it's back to that fatigue theory or momentum theory. Which one would you prefer? Is having that lower final to keep yourself warm against top competition an advantage? Well, the 1-game advantage for Proyecto Haaland will definitely make up for that, but there is so much pressure when it comes to that first game. I feel like I say it every single grand finals we do for these Redirect monthlies. If you are the side that is coming in from lowers, to be able to essentially reset the series score to a best of 5 is crucial to just getting your mentals back in the game, because I feel like it just becomes an exceedingly harder affair if you do not win that first match.
Especially so. I mean, you're immediately staring down a 2-0, potentially a 3-0, and there's the snowball turns into an avalanche real quick, and you just cannot catch up into that pace of play. So hopefully that's something that Handmade is able to prevent. They are going to go ahead and switch things up here, I at least believe, because in our upper final, they looked good. Sorry, apologies.
A little bit going on in the background with the players here. They're a little bit eager to join the pitch, let's just say. As are we, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, there will be a server reset, but that just gives us some more time, Quanzek, to talk about this upcoming
100%.
matchup. It is very much Spain versus the world here. It's the hype chamber boys themselves, Nashiti, Visek, and Rife, and they're looking to farm some more clips. They're waiting for Hazard to already remake that video, even though it has only been used twice so far, because they were stacking up on some of those mechanical plays that I must say we've been a little bit shy of for the rest of the day. Is that fair to say? I feel like it's been some rather grounded 50-base chess match Rocket League where, you know, it's been all about the blunders, not the magic, but magic, of course, guaranteed with Proyecto Haaland.
Yeah, and what I'm really looking forward to is we saw Handmade SMG really grow in their level of competition over the course of that series. And that game 5 was stolen away from them at the last second, where so many shots came about and they just couldn't actually execute and find a goal. I know they want revenge now as we get firmly set for this grand finals here, babe.
Spain versus the rest of world. Proyecto Haaland versus Handmade SMG. They've had a taste of competition before, but nothing could ever match the hype of the grand finals. Ladies and gentlemen, this series is ready to get underway.
We'll have the players take to the pitch. It will be a rematch of our upper finals. This time, though, for all of the marbles, everything on the table, not in the sense of our last 2 monthlies where it's the entire prize pool, but first place and a nice little green in your pocket. That would be if you were an American, but multicolored bills if you are collecting the pounds instead. And immediately off the bat here, Pig, it's Handmade SMG just looking to set the tone. They had a quality shot off the back of a demo that was saved at the last second by Vizek, but still, PH is reeling, and just like that, Surrounded will draw first blood.
And I thought that they were just getting used to the tempo of what are very different opponents to rounds. I'm completely wrong. They're looking to set it. First goal coming in. It's a sniped shot into that top left corner. Proyecto Haaland have been really quickly done. They've got to cover their lines no matter the distance away from the play. Because if those small openings do present themselves, Handmade SMG are more than happy to just go for it. And they'll initiate that high press right afterwards. That is what's made them so terrifying for anyone who's come up against them, including this blue side that match before. There's a reason that went the distance.
Yeah, and there's... You couldn't have said it better. I mean, I'm thinking here trying to scrap and add on to what you've just said, and there's legitimately... Yes, there's a reason that went the distance, and Handmade SMG now just on their revenge tour as this ball gets scorched into the corner there. Not finding a bump, is Surrounded, but this pressure continuing to mount here. Hopeless drop down pass, and there's so much time now for Handmade. You can see PH just respecting the amount of pressure they've been put on early. They don't really want to step up and commit into this lower third for fear of this ball coming back their own way and punishing them.
Shition ceiling denied there by Hopeless, and that one is looking to float towards the target. Vizek actually was required to sweep that one up. He might need a second option. It's right this time off that front post. I must say, Proyecto Haaland not looking like that team that qualified through the uppers. Well, Handmade SMG certainly looking like the one with all the momentum. They carried that on from all their series today. Not a single break to their name, and they do not seem tired whatsoever. They've been so fast, aggressive to the ball, and I feel like one thing that has really paved the way for them throughout today, it's not just about that intention, it's about that confidence as well. It's not maybe I'll go for this ball, it's I'll go for this ball and it will fall in my favor every single time. Not a single ounce of hesitation.
There are a couple of miscues here for Handmade SMG, maybe what PH needs to inspire confidence back into them. Vizek collection here off the sidewall, going for a little bit of a plan B. Initially was a ground pinch, but his car was too off kilter in order to properly steer that towards the net. Whiff on that sidewall goes Hopeless. Will get the full boost though, as Surrounded just going to play possession into the corner, then immediately give it back up with a very hopeful shot. PH have stabilized themselves. There's some entry into Handmade SMG's half as the shots get near equal, and the goals are going to be drawn equal, as this is just uncontested really for Vizek.
The grand finals has truly awoken, with both teams grabbing their first goal of this series. Like you said, was somewhat gifted there. They were just faster towards that ball, and I spoke about that intention and that confidence. That time everyone was very intentional and just not going for that clearance. Maybe back in that second or that third man, you are left in quite an awkward situation. It's just one of those where someone has just got to make that call in the comms. But for now, Handmade SMG right back on that attack.
I thought that had a chance to go in. It skirts away just off that near post. Vizek, card off the corner. Hopeless is really awkward. Just has to pop that out for Surrounded, who controls it very well. No further than right, though, as Marshy couldn't recover, but he's there in the right spot to find the save regardless. And a double demo comes out in quick succession to make sure that Handmade SMG has the space to clear.
Marshy sends that one straight to Vizek. They're going to be happy with that clearance, but Handmade SMG pass it amongst each other. The ceiling as well getting involved, looking to be the master of all surfaces. Though Proyecto Haaland doing really well to just predict those plays ahead. It has felt like this game has changed since that last goal went in. This is definitely a more even affair. Proyecto Haaland, though, it's their turn. Fingers on the trigger. Side flip coming out. Demos as well, but space has opened up for Rife. You can hear that Hopeless Ding come out and the counter-attack falls. Marshy makes it 2-1 for handmade SMG.
That's the punishment early on that PH was really wary of. Why they didn't want to get involved in the offensive third for fear of handmade SMG just springing it back the other direction. They get an open net just because Proyecto Haaland get a little bit too aggressive with their rotations. Their third man a bit too deep, a single flick beats him, and all of a sudden they're in a hole with Marshy bearing down. It's a whifty, and then Vicek gets goomba'd by his teammate, and despite all of that, they hang on. They still need to go to the other end of the pitch, though, in order to score just to equalize.
Oh, great save from Rife. It keeps them flowing. They're still going to need that counter-attack. That was just the first of many steps. The second and third on, though, with that ball kept high. They're on the right area of the pitch, but surrounded. Gets the slightest of touches. We've said it before. We'll say it again. It is the smallest of differences that are going to dictate a series like that. But we asked for this weighted best of 7 to be resetted into a best of 5. Handmade SMG have done the job that was required. This is truly a fresh series now.
And I don't want to go pointing fingers, but Nishidi, I do feel like just needs to step up a bit more. It felt like in the upper final between these two teams, I was constantly calling that name, and there's no significant stat recorded for Nishidi, a really visible third man more so in this game. No goal or assist or save, just a couple of shots, some clearances, some centers. Just want to see a bit more, not to the point of ball chasing, obviously, but I felt like when he was involved, he could really be the catalyst to get things going for our Spaniard team here in the grand finals. Lots more adaptation and changing to do. We are staring at a best of 5 moving forward here, and hopefully between these two rosters, there should be some good action. We've seen it already. I think we should expect to see it again. It's just a matter of PH getting warmed back up, I think. They looked a little bit stale in that game number 2.
Certainly slow starters, but it was still enough to keep the game close, and qualifying through that upper finals, they've given themselves that extra bit of time to get themselves into the series. That first game they can write off, they can treat it like a best of 5 now. The warm-up is truly over. This is where we've got to see performances. This is where we've got to see them prove their mettle as an upper-sided team. Nishiti will clamp on that first touch, wants to play it under that first man of handmade SMG, but blocks off well. They're just going to look to keep the ball in corner possession. It's a little brief moment of safety for the orange side, and they were waiting for that perfect 50. Surrounded seemingly has it. Now it's up to Marshy to try and take this one forward. Proyecto Haaland, though, a decent start in terms of maintaining pressure. Now it's about finding those vital areas.
Rife trying to do just that. Drop down from Hopeless. It's a little bit of a breakaway rush here. Nobody has any boost for PH, and they're going to get punished. As a result, screaming from the Raptors comes surrounded for the opener here. Bang! 1-0 to handmade SMG.
That's how you treat a grand finals. Any opportunity you have to take it. They had that second man as well, Marshy, charging towards the net just in case anyone would dare interrupt the first place around and sends against them. SMG here for a vengeance. They've been the rematch champs, it's felt like. They've taken down rounds. Of course, their first meeting against Proyecto Haaland went a little bit differently, but you can beat this team once. They're looking to prove that it doesn't happen again. Hopeless back on. Flip reset's not going to be enough for the closed defense of Proyecto Haaland. Rife's going to have to try and find a manner of escape. That dunk could do the job. The bum certainly does. Another shot was required, but handmade SMG managed to pick the pockets of the first man.
Nishidi over the sidewall, trying to stay with it, just trying to block any potential clear. But no boost, had to give up possession of that ball. Surrounded. Gonna go for a long-winded fake here. Just pop that up with 0 boost in the tank. Marshy loses control over the Vicek. Hopeless takes over, though. About 20 boost to make a play. Surrounded, lying in the weights with a full tank. He'll take over, try to go for a side flip shot on net. Can't fully connect as now Marshy a little bit awkward. Tried to get that boost, but got neither. Sacrifice is clear for it and got demoed, and as a result, they'll get punished by Vizek, slotting this bottom left.
What a flick there from Nishiti. And again, I feel like it was that little bit of an extra drive forward that assured that goal was going to find the back of the net, because the goalkeeper had to make a bit of a decision. You saw him just hold on to that accelerate, anticipating having to avoid a bump, and when the bump never came, it was too late. Ball was on target, the front post was already exposed, and, well, you just cannot leave gaps like that in a Redirect's monthly grand finals. It was 22 over 2k average players that entered this competition. These are your two finalists. This is arguably the most stacked Redirect's monthly we've ever seen. Very certainly a spot in history for those that win it.
A statement win for certain. Handmade SMG trying to fight back from already a game handicap. 1-0 to start the series. They've done well in the first one. A win here would certainly tie over opinions that, hey, maybe this is the better team and they shouldn't have been sent down in the first place. Nishidi trying to make sure that's not the storyline that's written. Pass over to Rife, looking for Vizek. He's just going to play it soft, looking for possession down, but Nishidi didn't want to commit, knowing that Handmade SMG was closer to that challenge. Marshy, challenge that will filter off over into the corner. Here comes Nishidi, high into the air. Bump touch around one. Hopeless gets there from the corner.
And it was perfect position defense there. He had to stretch himself to the full extent, but still, that means he was in the right spot. All angles covered. And those are mistakes that have slipped through earlier, getting patched up here in time. Or what it is, like I said, in essence, a best of 5 for all the marbles. Vizek lays that one up. It's not the angle he'd like. Marshy should have his own touches. The ball stays high. A bit of vertical play from either side. It's ended up in the favour of Proyecto Haaland, but again, siphoned off to the corners every single time. If you don't have any inside space, you might as well just give it up now, especially if the boost counts aren't favourable.
Hopeless. Can't get there. He's going to fan on that ball not once, but twice. Marshy going to take his time, recognize he has a lot of green around from it, then just take a long-winded air dribble out past the midfield line. Get a ton of space that forces a ton of the boost to be expended by PH. After all this, we end up right about around neutral, but PH is struggling with their total boost tallies. Vizek gets spun out. A demo on the back end. I believe Rife was the only one with boost. This one, pinballs around, awkward ball out in front. Vizek backflip, save, and on the back foot, RPH with only 6 seconds on the clock. Hopeless twirling around with the ball, gets credit for the full boost. Nishidi, a last second challenge. Can Handmade SMG keep it up? Flick high, forces 1, 2, and 3 to go. But we hit the turf of OT in game number 3.
They kept it close. There were potentials there for the game to end in regulation, but OT is where destiny lies. It's been a locked affair. Who has the keys? It's felt like Vizek at times has been the heartbeat for the Proyecto Haaland roster. He's not in defense in this occasion, and so they suffer. They almost locked it down in the final seconds of regulation. They've allowed that to spill over in extra time. The golden goal's been reached, and the team from the lowers ends up with their game advantage.
It definitely just felt like Proyecto Haaland got broken down. About 15 seconds left on the clock, they started scrambling and they couldn't reset before that timer came about to start OT. Only 15 seconds in, we see a double commit where neither player for PH can make contact with the ball. Handmade SMG capitalize, and this is 2 unanswered wins for them, Pig, and the only game loss they have is the one that was given to PH as a result of their upper final performance. With this being said, these games haven't been complete blowouts. It just feels like it's a bit eerie if you're a PH fan. You feel like there's more they should be doing. Too often they're on the back foot having to respond rather than be proactive about the gauntlet that's being thrown down.
And it was 5 shots to 2 in that last game in about 5 minutes and a quarter of action. That's not many opportunities to score, and to give credit to Proyecto Haaland, they were the team with 2 shots, they're also the team with 1 goal, so they've got a good conversion rate about them, but it's about getting themselves in those strong positions, and I'm not talking about just that opposite end of the pitch, not just waiting on their goal line. How many times did I say it's in the safe corner? When it came to handmade SMG on defense and Proyecto Haaland looking to apply some pressure, there is having space in the final third. There's having good space in the final third. This is a better sign from Visek to get us started. Central, aggressive, a crossbar hit on the first chance, but still some signs of life.
Yeah, they come out with an early offensive. If we're being realistic, though, it should have gone in, as should have that one. Rife has an open net to look at. Marshy's covering the backboard. You go low. Surely it's a good, it's a goal, if not a very quality rebound. Neither one of them happened. I feel like that's 2 golden chances already on the board for PH, where they can't get it in. That one, once again, a bounce shot that ends up just high. In the post is the tallest defenders, only 45 seconds in to this game.
And it feels like we've had a few of those opportunities, right, where you score them 11 out of 10 times if it's a training pack, but with the pressure of a grand finals, with that prize pool on the line, with this being prestigious redirect monthly as well, sometimes we see a little bit of those drops in class when it comes to, like you said, you've got to be going for the low shot there for that first opportunity that Haaland had, but it was a little bit rushed, and that's what sent the ball high. It's what sent them packing back to their defenses and allowed handmade SMG potentially have the first chance to open up. That shut down again, all even Stevens between the 2 finalists.
And I feel like a win here really just sets up handmade SMG for not just a quality victory, but a statement win at that. You're on the verge of what is technically an unforced gentleman's sweep. The one game you gave over wasn't even by way of your own gameplay. It was just a mercy of them coming through from the winners finals. Yes, it was against you, but you saw that game 5. Handmade SMG really hasn't missed a beat, at least in terms of their pressure. Surrounded is a bit awkward here, and he's going to pull himself too far out of net. Nishidi spots his shot selection. Too many yeses there. I got a bit tongue-tied. Is surrounded. Unintentional ricochet into his own net.
Sibilance, we call that. 2 minutes gone. First goal for Proyecto Haaland, and well, like the first time in quite some time they've been able to have a lead. I will want to hold that for as long as possible, because if handmade SMG just come back, equalize the straight afterwards, it's going to feel like all that hard work is for nothing. You've got to focus on the mental aspects of the game. However, if they're able to get a second one across, shake that all away, this game would surely be theirs to win. Handmade SMG looking to close this one down in a corner. Marshy's there on that second follow-up. That one's going to fall dangerously. Nishiti doesn't get that first touch. Rife is required, and could that be the state that broke the camel's back? Not quite. Visek on the response, and no one waiting inside.
A little bit of dead space in the game right here as both these teams, I do feel like it's Proyecto Haaland understanding, hey, we have a lead for the first time. We're actually putting on shots. Let's just be understanding of where our rotation is. And look at this play set
gorgeous.
Up. Tic-tac-toe. Every single player getting involved. It's a breakout passing play and a shot all in one as they pull apart the defense and catch them off guard.
Excellence from Proyecto Haaland. You could not ask for a ball played better outside of their own box. And in a game that felt so fast-paced and favouring handmade SMG, it's felt like Proyecto Haaland have done the opposite. They've slowed down the tempo, they've sat back a little bit more, they've taken advantage of their space, they've had a bit more of these passings in between each other, they've created their own opportunities instead of forcing themselves into it, and it's absolutely paid dividends. That is a professional shift in gameplay.
And if you think about how that upper final played out, there's more logic behind it besides just this series. Proyecto Haaland started out that best of 5 so good. They look quality. Yes, the games were close, but they looked like the better team. As we got further along, games 3, 4, and 5 started to devolve into nothing but chaos. everybody stumbling over each other's cars, racing to the ball. There wasn't real rhyme or reason to the gameplay. And as a result, it came back to punish Proyecto Haaland. So they're trying to slow things down, but you still have to make sure you're worried about things defensively. The communication just not there as Vicek tries to steer it high of the net, but Rife doesn't trust his teammate to get a ball touch there, or they're just not on the same page, and that double commit comes out to cut this lead down to 1.
Efficiency from the Englishman to get that goal across, but efficiency has really been the theme for Proyecto Haaland. Allow them in your final third to your demise. Vicek has been given a rather simple dunk there to double their lead and really look to assure that they're going to equal up that series scoreline. 55 seconds would feel like plenty against maybe any other opponent, but the SMG will certainly try their best. First big opportunity coming straight off the kickoff, not wasting any of those seconds, which they desperately need to make sure they use every single one of. Rife messes up his first touch, but still, that will run down the clock. There's going to be no complaints if Proyecto Haaland don't find another.
We'll tap opportunity there from Nishedi. Couldn't find it. It has to be now if you're going to be handmade SMG and continuing your quest towards this gentleman. Sweeps surrounded, flips around the corner, gets good contact, bumps one off, but the clearance still comes out for Proyecto Haaland, excuse me, as Hopeless tries to get over the top of Nishedi, but they're not letting them get anywhere. 3-1, there's just not enough time on the clock. Handmade SMG will stumble in the live mid-series adaptations from Proyecto Haaland to slow down the pace of play, be more disciplined and thorough in their rotation, pay dividends.
And this is the series that we were asking for. It's a series we felt like these two teams deserved, and it's the series that they're giving us now. Both of them getting a proper on-game victory. Of course, it says 2 for Proyecto Haaland, but one of those was their weighted advantage from the uppers. And handmade the SMG didn't manage to go the full distance. They haven't given themselves a win, and Proyecto Haaland did look like that stronger, more calm, composed, calculated team by the end of it. But they still made them work. You were forcing out the very best, like that 3-man passing play they were able to score before. Vicek maybe a little bit fortunate on the dunk in that occasion, but by that point, it was late in the game. It's where everyone throws absolutely everything towards every play. It's why you didn't see a third man in that position. And at that point, it's rather blameless. However, heading into this 5th game now, getting yourself on match point ready for Neo Tokyo is going to be crucial. And if it comes from SMG, what a lower run this could be for them.
Taking down the likes of Rounds and the person who they fell to in the winners finals, all in one fail swoop in the highest MMR tournament in Redirect Monthly history. The most teams that have signed up. I mean, this is the tournament to win. It goes to show you just the level of competition that we have here, that we're at 2 apiece. We're angled for a best of 3. That demo off the kickoff may come to bite Proyecto Haaland, actually, even though they were the ones that got it. Good save by Rife, and they will be out of the woods to start. And that is an unintentional own goal.
Listen, sometimes just how it happens. It's how you concede your first. I mean, it was a little bit chaotic in midfield. I can understand why that one could fall this favourably. Marshy maybe a little bit high on the play, but I feel like when it's that awkward, you're just left guessing every single couple of seconds. As long as you're able to respond quick, you can wrap that one up and throw it away. Marshy might give us exactly that. Straight after the kickoff, does well on that first 50. A player waiting inside, another on the corner. It's surrounded. Will likely try to find Hopeless. Bumped off first. Vicek will have to keep this ball flowing. Proyecto Haaland going to be going for a team play of their own, but the individual efforts of Vicek shut down quick by SMG.
Surrounded. Following with that ball, it'll filter on over to Hopeless. He's going to go hard off the corner, but Nishidi reading him like a book. Somehow, it still ends up over there. As I just want to take a brief highlight of the scoreboard here. Rife has 227 points for Proyecto Haaland. Vicek and Nishidi have 8 and 4, respectively. That save
Wow.
from Nishidi is gonna help them out, but through 1 minute, it's been exclusively the Rife show as he is trying to pull this team along. Here he goes again, individual 1v1 play! It dangles through one, finds a demo, and slots it for a second goal for Proyecto Haaland.
One-man army! Unstoppable for Proyecto Haaland. It's the perfect start. The first shot was chaos. The second one earned by the sole man. Visek, though, wants a bit of action himself. Rife's already looking for a hat-trick at this point. Coming in off the corner, homemade SMG. We'll certainly see this game chase against them unless they can score, I'd say, in the next 30 seconds to 45. I feel like that's when you start to get a little bit concerned. Proyecto Haaland, I do notice, are typically quite bunched up in the defense, and what you'll see, the higher up the pitch the ball is, they start to disperse that little bit more. Double commits coming in on this instance. Handmade SMG looking to hold on to that pressure, but holding on is seemingly all they're able to do. They haven't really been able to just, pull out the bazooka and bust through that door, which has been locked for quite some time now.
It's been a swarming defensive style by Proyecto Haaland, and I'll tack on to what you're saying of their rotations just getting much tighter as they're in their defensive end. The offensive showings that Handmade SMG have shown thus far, unless it's a solo mechanical play, they're utilizing the corners to try to brute force their way in. So the triangle cluster you're seeing from Proyecto Haaland deep in that corner, it's them tightening down that side to not enable that ball to filter into the midfield. They're not utilizing across the pitch Handmade SMG. They're only really using 40% of the pitch, about one half, for these offensive attacks. Here we go again, Hopeless staring down that back wall. Surrounded won't ever cross it to the other end before that shot comes out. That's why Haaland's so tight defensively currently.
Rife. Oh, down again. Looking to face another barrage here, likely from Handmade SMG. Visek's decided, actually, he's not done yet. Challenge in the corner, surrounded with the long ball clear. It's going to be an easy collection here for Rife, and I'm loving the way they pass the ball out every single attempt as well. That's why they've been opening up. Rife again back on. Surrounded, staying tight. It's all about that dunk. It's all about a follow-up from Visek now. The priorities constantly shifting. But ultimately, it's going to be no counter-attack from Handmade SMG, likely. No goal from Proyecto Haaland either, and I'm sure the blue side will be fine with that.
The second Handmade SMG goes to switch the field offensively, they're going to score. Hopeless going for the individual solo play, can't get a ton of power behind that Musty. Marshy has to give way to Nishedi, bumps off Surrounded as well. That's a good individual effort. Rife takes a strong 50 and yet still somehow stays with this ball. And Handmade SMG have just resorted to the physicality. They clear the way. Marshy gets in front of the ball, and enough commotion, Nishedi can't get there.
And he's getting targeted by everyone truly left on an island, and that island invaded there by the rest of the Europeans. Marshy looking for that second shot on, Surrounded. Well, will surround that first man, looking for the double. Nishiti will block, and there's 40 seconds looking to make the difference here. Do we find O-Team? Do and throw themselves on match point? It's an important swing game throughout the nature of this grand final, and Proyecto Haaland have decided sitting down on their final lines will not be enough. Back on, Nishiti over Visek. Again, looking to just whittle down that clock, but that's a full boost. Marshy sacrificing his life for Hopeless. It's a vital opportunity with Surrounded out wide, but the ceiling is denied. Rife looking to control the play. Visek looking for that third goal. It's not just sitting down in the corners, and will that be a regretful decision? Ball hits the ground. Proyecto Haaland, your upper bracket side on match point.
It felt like a must-win game, especially with how much Proyecto Haaland controlled that game. They weren't enabling any real offensive chances to come about. They scored on their few trips down to Handmade SMG's half and just got it done defensively. 7 shots on target for Handmade SMG, 7 saves by Proyecto Haaland. They got the job done, and they earned that win. Now, 2 opportunities at a match point, and I feel like if they repeat that performance, it's going to pay dividends. Handmade SMG, the ball is in their court. They have to get more creative offensively. It was the same look time and time again. They finally scored when Marshy had surrounded and hopeless, chasing around Nishidi, just trying to clear him out from the net. That had to have been a perilous moment for Nishidi. But with what is to come, they have to do more. You can't just rely on the same trick or the physicality to get you every single goal. Handmade SMG have proven they can score. They just got a little bit too projected in that last game.
Neo Tokyo awaits potentially our final destination for Redirect 25. Proyecto Haaland had that important swing game to win. If you look at the dynamics of a weighted best of 7, the in-game score is 2-2. If Handmade SMG had run off, that would have been a 1-3 in-game, and then, of course, taking the lead in this series as well. Proyecto Haaland can both have the confidence and the score above them completely in their favour. The momentum as well, with the last 2 falling their way. And it's all been in that changing gameplay, that slowing down, the finding of the openings that has been crucial throughout the upper and lower brackets. Vizek opens up.
That whole sequence, I was really concerned for PH. Rife got demoed, respawned, and took the boost away from Vizek, who was the one that was going up the wall for some backboard defense. But those two later combined, Rife and Vizek, for that cross-field play. They open up the scoring, and Proyecto Haaland are showing that they are in control. They can threaten goals from anywhere as Marshy has to retreat all into his own end. And it's all for naught as once again, Rife is the recipient of this pass, this time though from Nishidi, as he slots it in the bottom left, and Proyecto Haaland looks strong right now, Pegasus.
A lot of that was onto the boost economy as well. You only had Hopeless with anything in the tank, and he was arguably the worst position. Marshy was forced to the awkward touch due to the lack of anything, and well, that third man was off. Dancing with the daisies. And that should have been a goal for Handmade SMG. I'm not quite sure how Proyecto Haaland were ever able to keep that one out. That's one I'd love to see on replay. But for now, we're going to have to continue where they left off. Nishiti back on. Handmade SMG still looking for that desperate first goal. We saw in the game before, Proyecto Haaland know how to not only bring a game in their favour, but to run off with it as well.
High chip touch here for Nishidi. You were just talking about them running away with it. Nishidi's gonna run away with this third. It's gonna be a pop touch from Hopeless. That's very hopeful at that. He's just trying to get rid of the ball, but it turns into a dime over to Nishidi, and it's a team hat trick early here. PH, they are not playing games, coming out hungry. 3-0 to start.
Nishiti on Marshy. Oh my goodness, what a fake for that first play. We'll go for it again on the second. Wanted the 1v3, however, second and third are a bit more bunched up. There should be a clear-cut chance for Proyecto Haaland. And again, I'm going to bring back a phrase from the upper finals. What do you do when perfect is not enough?
I feel like we're seeing here, Pig, it's Handmade SMG just may be through the ringer. This fatigue may be finally setting in. The amount of play they've had to keep up with, you can tell with their touches, with the way they're jumping. They just want to get rid of the ball. They don't want it. They're sick of seeing it. They're tired It's a double commit here between Hopeless and Surrounded. Neither one of them really has boost. Neither one of them makes contact with the ball. Neither one of them is communicating. And Proyecto Haaland just add insult to injury. Things continue to go from bad to worse. And here we are.
No.
Okay, finally, Handmade SMG will break the seal. If that didn't go in, I feel like that would have been their tournament life.
I cannot believe it. I could not believe it for a second there. If Handmade SMG had not collected a goal, you know my opinions on you have to play a game for full distance, you know, to respect the tournament organisers, especially when it's on stream. If they'd left, I would not blame them. I really wouldn't have. But there's still a lot of life left in the game. Just over half still to go. It's just that Proyecto Haaland have really not taken their time. They haven't taken the full seconds. They've looked to get this done in a heartbeat. Hopeless though. Looking for some second wind in the second half. Surrounded. Pounces straight on. Marshy throws high. Looking for that Doomsday dish. That's a player saw from Zen a few grand finals ago in the World Championship. Unfortunately, not finding that same success here.
Isaac gonna chase this one down the corner, beats two with a single touch. Hopeless leaving that for his teammate and Marshy, who gets a shot on in the demo, but now a bit flat-footed as Isaac flips over the top of Hopeless. Rife, very disciplined, doesn't want to go as the third until he knows he can beat that to that ball. He does just that, intercepting that pass. Takes it over from the hood of Hopeless, but he then turns that into a cherry-picking opportunity. Marshy can't connect with Demo, but Isaac can swoop in. Bump off Surrounded. This could be an opportunity. Nashidi trying to get a bit clever with the mind game, slowing down the ball, trying for a fake. Won't connect. But really, all they have to do is burn time. It's under 90 seconds on the clock, and Handmade SMG need 4.
Oof, it's a tough pill to swallow here in this offense. Still, just in the favour of Proyecto Haaland, it looks more likely we'll see a Brazil. Again, drop down. Handmade SMG though, looking to try and grab the second. First step towards that, like I said, almost impossible comeback they're fighting for. However, instead, forced to hear the 1 minute tone and know that their time is surely up. This is got to be a victory lap for Proyecto Haaland. The Spanish have taken over the Redirect Monthly.
Yeah, a little bit of insult to injury here with this ball going in. The Spaniards have done it. It's just a formality at this point. 44 seconds on the clock. And we'll just watch as these tick down before a almost assuredly at this point Proyecto Haaland victory. They'll finish with a double team hat-trick. 2 goals apiece across the board, showing that every single member is getting involved. Rife will be the first to claim a full complete hat-trick. And it just goes to show you the lethality of this team. When every single member can get involved, they become all the more dangerous. You can't key in on a one member. That's why I brought up Nashidi's name in that first game. Just felt like there wasn't enough there. But now that he's come online, a lot of the team has followed, and it shows. You mentioned we might see a trip to Brazil before a comeback. If Rhino were here, the shades would be on also, although they might be the most solemn shades he would have thrown on, as it's just, the match feels deflated right now. But congratulations to Proyecto Haaland. They have done it, Pegasus. They have won the most competitive Redirect Monthly to date, and in brilliant fashion.
Insane. I mean, to be a champion of a Redirect Monthly alone is an incredible achievement with the talents that is to do it in number 25 out of all of them, where you've got the likes of Velocity RL competing, Round competing, Handmade SMG to their own credit, and of course the eventual champions Proyecto Haaland. No easy feat. Fair play to them. They'll be taking home the full £70 for first place, and Handmade SMG will be grabbing the consolation of £30, and of course just that spot on stream for the grand finals, where we've got to give them credit where it's due. The whole series was close until that final game. That was just a little bit of a step too far. They've been on an excellent lower bracket run, and it just felt like they ran out of a little bit of steam. But again, that's also fully to the credit of Proyecto Haaland. That just got better and better and better.
Yeah, no, I thought there was going to be something there. When Handmade SMG came on to the grand finals, they looked good at the tail end of their first series against Proyecto Haaland. They run through the lowers against rounds who are, a professional league through win their first two games. It felt like they were putting the pieces together, but I do agree with you. I think they just ran out of juice a little bit, but I can't wait to see them return for future monthlies. Sign-ups for monthly number 26 will be live tomorrow. !Discord in the Twitch chat will get you into the Discord, so you can go ahead and find that sign-up link when it goes live. We had 50 teams today. We had quality competition. There will surely be more to come. And all of it we're trying to cover. Big shout out to our community casters here of Klaus Cast, Weltorium, and Borky. Much love to you guys. All of these players deserve their own spotlight, and our casters do a phenomenal job at doing that. Make sure you go show those guys some love. And Redirect Esports, this is the place to be right now. It's the bubble scene in Europe. Make sure you're following us here on Twitch and Redirect GG on Twitter. There'll be commands in the chat for both !Twitch and Twitter. Thank you all for tuning in. I have had the pleasure of sharing this booth with my co-caster. I'll give him the platform to shout himself out. And I'll share that you can find me on Quanzek on my socials everywhere. It's the same handle, just that 7 string of letters. Thank you much for the time, Pig. It's been a minute since we've been together, but I feel like we haven't missed a beat as always.
Absolutely not, and either of the Redirect monthlies. I mean, just getting better and better, introducing something new every time. We had, of course, all of the added hype chamber stuffs last time in a hype video. This time, a completely new in-game overlay. So credits, of course, to Hazard Prod on Twitter, and of course the owner of Redirects, for doing absolutely everything, including the work behind the scenes. For myself, it's a Pegasus on every single social, typically here every single month for these Redirect monthlies, if available. And that will be a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. The final package is ready to be played. Just a reminder of what we saw earlier today. This is the place to be, constantly increasing in competition. And the off-season, no more when you have Redirect about preparation for LCQ, preparation for our RLCS 2026, or just an opportunity to become a Redirect champion. It's been an absolute pleasure here for the broadcast. We'll see you for number 26.
From 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. Doing so for the best, 'cause I know what I'm next. Every time we're together, going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. That you're gone. They say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple
and I just wonder why I'm buried in a suit I'd never buy, a suit I